Maybe what you can tell us, the latest involvements with people here.
Go ahead, you go first, Bruce.
Well, I can speak to the state of the Meadowlands and racing in New Jersey. We were concerned leading up to the end of the subsidy money, which was ending this year. We knew there wasn't going to be any more funding coming from that same source. And as horsemen, you know, we all kind of resent a little bit that the casinos indicate they're subsidizing our game for the last 6 years. They really weren't. That money came to us as a result of the deal brokered by the state government in New Jersey that gave the Atlantic City casinos tax concessions on rooms in return for them contributing, if you will, $30 million a year. Went on for approximately 6 years. It was about $2.5 million a casino each year, and I think the rewards that they reaped as a result of the tax concessions way outweighed, maybe 2 to 1, the $2.5 million that they gave to us. So, you know, when we go to these panel hearings, we see here the casinos say, oh, if we'd have used the money that we gave to the horsemen to market our industry, we wouldn't be in this condition. Well, that's sheer folly. And they look at us and say, well, you know, your game has run its course. Well, they should look in the mirror. Their game has run its course. You know, they had a monopoly on gambling on the East Coast for 30, 35 years. They were well protected by the state. None of the other states, the contiguous states, had any gambling. They should have been smart enough to see the handwriting on the wall and reinvented themselves, which they contend they can do now. They want to become a family vacation destination like Las Vegas thought was going to work a decade ago. You know, they threw that concept in the garbage can after about 2 years and realized what goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas. When you got a gambling location, that's what it is. It's a gambling location. So Atlantic City has had a huge detrimental impact by what's going on in Pennsylvania, Delaware, New York. They haven't got the casino up at Aqueduct yet, but it's only a matter of time. Yonkers has done a terrific job recognizing who their constituents are, catchy marketing. That place is jammed Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They've done a terrific job. It's a money machine. So as Pennsylvania, New York, Delaware had casino-influenced purses, naturally, a lot of the better horsemen, a lot of the better horses went into those venues. In New Jersey, our field size diminished, in part because there were other places for them to go. And you all are harness racing fans. You see how tough it is to be successful in New Jersey, how hard horses have to work to get the money. The speeds that we go today are preposterous. You know, there's a lot of underlying reasons for that we won't go into. But harness racing in New Jersey is in a very critical stage. We watched what developed with the construction industry and things like that, and the report came out, the Hansen report. In essence, the Hansen report said, we got to save Atlantic City. They used to employ 50,000 people, now they employ 38,000 people. They got 11 casinos there. 7 of the 11 are either in bankruptcy or some form of reorganization. We've got to rejuvenate the Xanadu project. We got to get that going, and we want to get all that done before 2014 so that when we have the Super Bowl to Meadowlands, we can have all the people that come into New Jersey, stay in New Jersey, and spend their money in New Jersey. Well, they look at the racetrack and they say, boy, what a great place that is for a casino. If they have a casino there when the horsemen are there, the racetrack, the infield, backstretch, all that property ancillary to having a racetrack is going to be occupied with the racing aspect of a racino. If somehow they were able to persuade or force the horsemen to leave the Meadowlands, and one of the recommendations of the Hansen report was to build a $5,000 grandstand at one of the mile track training centers and have conduct racing there. Their plan, I think, as I looked at their crystal ball, was to try and squeeze us out of there and then say, oh, Eureka, here's this big building, why don't we put a casino in there? They could put hotels on the property, they could develop that land, and that's what John Hanson was about. So the Hanson report couldn't have been any more detrimental to us. The governor endorsed it in glowing terms. The only positive thing that came from that, it riled and angered so many good horse people, not only the standardbred people, the thoroughbred people, the equestrians, the 4-H'ers, everybody that was involved in the industry. For one of the few times they unified and said, let's fight this. And the Senate is democratically controlled. The governor is Republican. The president of the Senate and a lot of the influential Democrats in the Senate are all from southern New Jersey. One was an ex-mayor of Atlantic City, so their interest really, their vested interest is in Atlantic City. But because some of those guys want to run for governor in the future, they say, well, we got to be a little more statesman-like than our Governor Christie. Let's set up a panel and review the situation. We don't think that this Christie report was wide enough. We think it was short-sighted. There was no consideration given to the horsemen. And they came to that conclusion as a result of the upheaval, the amount of emails and phone calls. You know, I give our SPOA Association, the Hamiltonian Society, credit. They worked long and hard and did the best they could to unify and mobilize everybody. And I give all the horse people support. You know, they got on the phones, they got on their emails, they told their friends. And there was such an overwhelming response that they had these panel hearings. The first one was Atlantic City at 10 o'clock on a Friday morning, the day before the Hamiltonian. It could not be any more inconvenient time for the horsemen to be there. They didn't think any of us would be there. We showed up, it was 300 and 400 people, had the Save the Meadowlands shirts. You know, the association had the buses from the farms, and we made our presence felt. We didn't get an opportunity to testify because it was about the Atlantic City, but the last meeting that they had a week ago Friday was at the Meadowlands. There were probably 900, 1,000 people there. And it wasn't all about horses, it was partly about horses. The Meadowlands Chamber of Commerce was there, all the unions were there, and almost every one of them had the same approach. You have to have gaming at the Meadowlands in order for this region to be successful. You've got to be more broad-minded. You have to understand that Atlantic City is important, but Atlantic City isn't the state of New Jersey. So we're starting to get our message across. I'm much more encouraged as a result of the things that have happened in 2 of the panel meetings than I was after the Hanson report. I mean, there was such gloom and doom. You know, the Meadowlands is going to shut down. We're going to race there next year. We'll probably have fewer days, which is a good thing. One of the problems of racing is we got way too much racing. You know, on the East Coast, we've got 4 major racetracks that race 180, 200 days a year. Yonkers goes year-round, Pennsylvania tracks. There's just way too much racing. So fewer racing days won't hurt us. But we're going to race, and I'm hoping that we're going to find a mechanism that we can race for the same amount of money or maybe more. And some of the people in the Senate have some other ideas how they can generate revenues with different forms of wagering that can go on there. I think in time there will be some form of gaming at the Meadowlands. I hope that the horsemen are a part of it. You know, but right now we have to stand our ground, stand up for ourselves, and not let them run us out of here, because I think, you know, that's what they would like to have. Snuff us out, take over the property, put a casino in there, full casino. 2012, 2013, here come all the people for the Super Bowl. They got the casino, they got 2 new hotels and whatever. So I think that's their game plan, but the horsemen aren't going to let them get away with that.